Okay. So, okay. Well, hello, and welcome to everyone who's just coming into the chat. We'll take maybe just a couple minutes to let people sort of continue rolling in here. I guess just to first thing, if everyone just wants to send a quick message just over in the chat, I would love to hear where everyone is joining us from today. I'll type in myself as well. Toronto, Austin, Baltimore. Okay.
Or got a few, yeah.
Awesome.
Quebec
Great.
City, some
Dallas.
fellow Canadians out there.
Oh, right on. We got a lot of folks from some warmer places than we're in right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Um, awesome. Okay. Well, just to as we're allowing more people just to sort of enter here, just a couple housekeeping items. I guess first and foremost, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name's Jory. I'm on the business development team here at Vidyard. And some of you, I mean, hopefully most of you have met my AI avatar prior to joining here today. Unfortunately, today you will be stuck with the real me. Um, couple things off the top. So the chat, which some of you have already gotten to interact with, which is awesome, is the chat will predominantly be for conversations, reactions, which is great. We encourage you to use that. If you do have any questions, we do recommend using the Q&A section of the webinar interface. That just allows us to more easily track the questions coming through so that we can get to those closer to the end of the session. So really just for our visibility, we'd appreciate that. This session is being recorded, so no worries on taking notes or anything like that. We have you covered, so you will receive a recording post-session. And yeah, just a reminder, this is actually our third session of our bi-weekly product workshop series. So if you were able to, maybe this is your first one, maybe it's your second, maybe this is your third. If you do want to catch up to see sort of how we got here, those other two sessions are available on demand for you to check out. So yeah, you can feel free to do that post-workshop. So really the series that we're running is just about sort of educating on our product and showing some cool use cases for Vidyard, and sort of demonstrating those, walking you through them. Some that you may be familiar with, some that you may not be. So yeah, feel free to ask us questions as you see fit on that. So today, I guess just to sort of get started, this week we're covering agentic workflows with Video Agent in HubSpot. So we'll be covering a little bit on creating campaigns in Vidyard, building out the HubSpot workflow, but also we're going to take a look at sort of the end result of that work, how that looks to the prospect or customer, and also how our reps that are actually using this can use those intent signals and data to sort of create their follow-ups and do that more effectively. So just to get us started, I'll pass it over to G, who can introduce himself and get us going through this. G?
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, Jory. Everyone, great to be here and great to see so many faces in here. Yeah, I'm G Ramsahai. I'm a product director here at Vidyard. Um, Most of my time is spent talking about Video Agent and how Video Agent interfaces with uh, all the various platforms that Vidyard integrates. Today, we are talking about. I'm going to walk you through a HubSpot version of Video Agent. But for those of you who either aren't HubSpot customers yet or are using another CRM, a lot of what we'll be talking about today applies across the board in a variety of different CRM tools. And I see there was a question that came in about that. So yes, we're going to be going through HubSpot as kind of the practical example of this, but we've got integrations into a variety of other tools as well. And so always happy to talk more in detail about that as we go through. So we'll jump right in, and just wanted to recap, as Dory mentioned, some of the previous conversations. So if this is your first time joining us for one of these workshops, uh, these topics may be new to you, so I'd encourage you to go check out the recordings. But in some of the previous workshops that we've run, we talked about the core AI avatars product and experience. And so in that, we went through some details around just how to get started creating your first avatar, some best practices around, the types of videos that we would use to create your avatars, kind of best practices, that sort of stuff. Um, we also talked about using those avatars in personalized emails at scale. And so that's kind of what we're all here to do, is figure out how to do personalization at scale. And so using your avatar is a really great way to do that. And then we also talked about using those avatars in what we call Vidyard campaigns, which we're going to see more of today, and leveraging those Vidyard campaigns in, again, some of that personalization at scale. So we're going to recap some of those concepts very loosely, but if you missed any of the previous ones, we're also happy to answer questions about any of those as well. Great. So, where I always like to talk about Video Agent at its core is this idea of triggers and actions. So you've got things, basically what we want to do is be able to respond to some kind of compelling event, right? So whether that's, someone's become qualified and we're ready to reach out to them, maybe you just found someone who's really ripe to reach out to, right place, right message, right time, all of that good stuff. But when we think about Video Agent, there's kind of like the two different flavors. We have this idea of triggers and actions, and then we have these like the concept of kind of more evergreen outreach that you might do for a variety of other reasons. We'll talk about some of those examples. But you can see an example of a version. You can see a version of this on the screen here, where some trigger occurs. In the scenario that we'll be working on today, we're going to talk about the scenario where a meeting has been booked. And so that's going to be the trigger for us to generate and share one of these avatar videos. So a meeting's been booked. That's the trigger. Vidyard's going to generate the campaign video. We'll talk about what that process looks like. And then we're going to use Gmail in this case to send that personalized video out. But you can see some of the other platforms that we've got integrated into Video Agent as well. So things like SalesLoft, HubSpot, Zapier, Marketo, Salesforce. There is also a fully baked API wrapped around all of this. So if you had another tool, if you were using another integration platform, something analogous to Zapier, you could tie all of this together just as easily. So, again, just want to stress that this is not limited to HubSpot. We're kind of working within all of these different tools. And this is what it's really all about, right? So, we like to talk about some of the different use cases that we might have as part of the video agent experience. And so you can see some of the different scenarios where it might be appropriate to just leverage your AI avatar versus video agent. So your AI avatar is largely going to be focused more on that like individual outreach, but something that where you want to do more personal outreach to a specific, account, specific person, but it maybe doesn't make sense in that moment to record a bespoke video. So using Vidyard's AI avatars product is going to enable you to create those personalized videos no matter where you are or what time it is. We've heard stories of people doing this on airplanes, on trains, while they're, waiting for their coffee. All of that kind of happens. Jory, I'm sure, has some crazy stories about doing this kind of in between travel. But we like to think about enabling personalized video, kind of meeting you where you're at. Video agent happens largely at scale. And so this is where we start to think about sales enablement folks, sales leadership, revenue operations, those sorts of areas of the business, enabling this kind of motion at scale for their sales teams. Or maybe it's something that you're doing for your marketers as well. And we'll talk about that use case as well. But that's kind of the core idea is that we've got both the AI avatars functionality that's available for the individuals to kind of create those videos for themselves, and then Video Agent, which allows operations teams to automate that process on behalf of everyone. So we'll just jump right into the demo and see how this plays out. So let me go to my other tab here. And so when I'm talking about Video Agent, I always like to start within Vidyard, the Vidyard Campaigns functionality. And you can see here I've got a variety of different campaigns set up. We've got meeting confirmations, we've got just kind of personalized prospecting, event follow-ups, which many of you will likely receive as part of this. And then we've got something like an intro to a CS rep, so maybe a post-sales automation there. We talked about meeting confirmations being the example we want to work with today, so we'll dive into that and take a look. So you can see here what we call a Vidyard campaign, and effectively what we're looking at here is a template of a video. So what you see here is how we're going to configure what gets said as part of the video generation process and what those videos look like. Things that you might expect to find here are going to be here. So things like the video title. And so you can see here, looking forward to our call, insert first name. And anywhere where you see these like purple boxes, these are going to be representative of variable components of the video campaign process. And we'll show you as part of this demo how we then incorporate the data that we've got in our third-party tool to start to fill in the blanks here. So yeah, we've got the video tool. We've got Binny's avatar here. So those of you who are on workshops 1 and 2 will be familiar with Binny. But he's got his avatar set up here. You can also change the layout of this video. So what you're seeing right now is this like talking head version. So kind of your typical Zoom call type layout. If you wanted to do something a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more flavorful to your business, you could do things like have a video background or an image background with the avatar in the bottom corner, kind of your head right around here. And that would be an option that you have as well. And so you're generating videos at scale with, maybe it's a short demo of your product or some other, kind of meaningful graphic there. And then, of course, the most important part of the campaign is the script itself. And so you can see a version of a script here where we've got a number of different variables, things like first name, company name, industry, sales team size. So the thing that I want to highlight here is that you are not limited to these relatively surface level pieces of information. The really cool thing about Video Agent and campaigns especially is that you can use any data that you've got available in your CRM or your marketing automation tool. So if you've got, we've got sales team size, if you had shoe size, favorite color, maybe there's a form that someone's filling out that speaks to something that they're interested in learning about your product or service. All of that data, as long as you're capturing it somewhere, can be passed back into the Vidyard campaign to then be personalized from the avatar itself. And so I just want to really emphasize the point that you're not limited. Any data that you've got available to you, you can set up. You can see here the other variables that we've got, and here's where we would create those new custom variables as well. But we've already got what we need to show in here, so we'll save this campaign and then we'll jump over to HubSpot. So inside of HubSpot, we're inside of the workflow builder, and I'm just going to go ahead and start off a new workflow. And as mentioned before, we are creating a workflow where we're sending meeting confirmations based on someone booking a meeting. So the trigger here is going to be meetings booked, but the workflow itself is totally up to you folks. So anything that you can trigger inside of a HubSpot workflow, you have the ability to use. So whether it's, like I said, webinars being attended, forms being filled out, emails being opened, whatever HubSpot will allow you to trigger off of, you can enroll someone into this workflow and send them a personalized video as part of that process. So I'm going to jump into the meeting events, and we'll choose meeting booked because that's the one that we want to focus on. And so now anyone who books a meeting with us is going to be enrolled into this workflow. And now here's where we start to configure the Vidyard end of this. And so if you look down below, we have created a Vidyard Video Agent custom action. And the custom action, once I insert it, is going to be where you start to define the mapping between the variables that were in the Vidyard campaign and the data that you've got inside of HubSpot. So you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and choose one of the campaigns. So we showed you the list of campaigns that I had in Vidyard earlier. We're now pulling those into HubSpot. We care about the meeting confirmation campaigns, so I'm going to pull those open. And I'll call out the contact owner property that we ask you to map. The contact owner field here is going to be the answer to whose avatar we use. So as an example, when I set up these avatar workflows for our team here internally, Jory's one of the folks that we set these up for. And so the way that this would get set up is if Jory gets a meeting booked and he's assigned as the contact owner, it then uses his avatar automatically to then create the video and then send it off. However, if let's say Mary gets a meeting booked with her instead and she becomes the contact owner, you have the ability to then it would automatically use her avatar instead. So we're setting up this workflow one time, but it allows us to scale this motion across our entire team. So even though it's a single workflow, a single email template, our entire team reaps the benefits of it. The only other thing I'll add about the contact owner is that you're not limited to using the contact owner field. We see marketing teams using this to leverage their CEO's avatar or maybe an executive. So if you wanted to do that instead, and maybe send if you had like a webinar where you wanted to send a presenter and you just wanted everyone to get the same avatar or a video from the same avatar, you have the ability to do that as well. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and just select the contact owner, and then you can kind of see how we map the rest of the fields here. So things like, if you'll recall in that campaign, we were using first name as a variable, we were using company name as a variable, industry, sales team size, all of that stuff. We're just selecting the variable from Vidyard, and then we're mapping it to the appropriate property inside of HubSpot as well. So hopefully that makes sense, and we can go ahead and save that. And that's the video creation step, more or less complete. Now that we've decided when we're going to send the video and what video we're going to send, the last piece we need to figure out is how we're going to send it. And so in most cases, the typical application here is going to be just delivering the delivering the video through an email. And so I'll go ahead and send an email. And I'm going to select one of my templates. And these are, again, standard HubSpot templates. So as long as you're using one of the automated marketing templates, here you'll have the ability to choose from the list. And I'll show you how we insert that in. You can see here, I'm now on the email template editor, and all we've done is dropped in a component here to the email that has a placeholder thumbnail. And the really great part about this is Vidyard will handle the matching of your customer to the video that's been personalized for them. So, like I said earlier, this is a single email template, a single workflow that you're setting up. But if it's going to one of Jory's prospects, it's going to have Jory's avatar's thumbnail in it. If it's going to Mary's, it's going to have Mary's avatar instead. And that same idea applies to the thumbnail as well. So we're really personalizing both the thumbnail as well as the content in the video as well. Cool. So now that we've got that and we're kind of happy with this 3-step process, we're triggering, we're generating the video, and then we're sending off the email, we can go ahead and review and publish that workflow. And I'll show you what the viewer experience looks like here. So you can see here an example of an email that would go out. And here's an example of an email you might receive from Vidyard, where it's, obviously the email copy is going to be personalized, but then you've got the avatar for the selected rep as well. So in this case, it happened to be Binny, but like I said, it could just as easily be Jory or Mason or anyone else. I'll go ahead and click through on that just so you can get a feeling for what the viewer experience looks like. And so what you're looking at here is what we call a branded sharing page or a Vidyard sharing page. And the Vidyard sharing page is totally customizable to you. So your brand, you can make this page look totally like your website. You can CNAME the domain to your own domain. And you've got a lot of customization there. I see a couple.
So I can hop
go
in
ahead.
just to so a couple things. I guess we'll just get started. First question from Rahul. Can I load up video to train the avatar?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll come back to the avatar training process at the end. It is covered in kind of that earlier workshop, but I do want to answer that question. I see a question from James here around whether or not it's always centered in the in the email viewing pane. So I think that was in the email itself here. You actually have full control over that. So again, because this is just a HubSpot email template, if there was something else that you wanted to do, like maybe you want to shrink this down and put it, and then put some copy beside it, or something to that effect, you have the ability to do that. Um, and then if we're looking at the viewing experience here, where I can click through and actually play through the video, you're also able to customize, the video player position on this screen as well. Cool. I will jump back through here. And the next screen that you're seeing here is an example of what the seller is going to see on their side. And so I don't know, Jory, how many view notifications do you get a day? You probably get drowned in them, I would imagine.
Uh, yeah, quite a few. Yeah, it's certainly
Yeah.
something that that can bog up my email.
Yeah.
But again, that's the kind of insight that I want to get when I'm sending out these videos. Because also when these videos are being watched, you're getting that notification pretty quickly from when it was watched. So that's a great intent signal, just knowing, okay, this person is just, this prospect that I'm reaching out to has just interacted with my video. That means, they're on their phone or they're at their computer engaging with this. So that could also be a potential great time for me as a rep to, use that signal to reach out to them. Maybe then I can give them a phone call. One thing that we at Vidyard and a lot of our customers really like to do is just sending over an email afterwards. You get the notification on, Sean has viewed 100% of your video. Just a quick message. Hey, Sean, just curious your thoughts on the video. Something like that is a great way to sort of, get a conversation started, start building more engagement, because through your prospect or your customer watching that video that obviously intent is much higher than just looking at open clicks on emails.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I think that signal that comes through is like really, really valuable. And so we give you basically a real-time notification when someone's engaged with your video. You get a sense of how much of it they've watched. But the really cool part of this is we give you, some real engagement data in the Vidyard product, both in the Vidyard product as well as inside of HubSpot. And we'll take a look at both of those. So you can see here a view of it inside of Vidyard. We also give you, kind of some analytics inside of our analytics center specific to that video, but also, of course, across your entire Vidyard library. And then all of this information is tracked within HubSpot, right? So because you're sending the email as part of a HubSpot workflow, of course, that activity gets tracked inside of HubSpot. You get to see the version of the email that went out to your customer. And then the really great part of that is the engagement data as well. So you really get that full 360 loop of recording the activity going out, but then also the engagement coming back into HubSpot where you can then kind of leverage it where you're working. And so that's something that we think is really, really important.
We have one more question that
Yeah.
just came through, G. Sean is asking, is the placeholder on the email template a drag and drop module?
Yeah, so the editor itself, when you're putting the email in, what it is actually you're just using the HTML module on the in the editor, but we give you the HTML. So back on the Vidyard campaign, we just give you the HTML to copy and paste, and then you can style that however you want. So if you want to do something more custom, you certainly can. But if you want, you can just take that HTML module. Once you populate it with the code we copy and paste out of Vidyard, you can just drop that wherever you need to in the email template. So like I said, if you wanted to create like a table of elements within the email template and then have the video, have that HTML element be one of the elements in that kind of three column table, you have the ability to do stuff like that. Cool. So that's kind of like the long and short of the video agent process. I'll jump back over to the slides and we can finish up here. Yeah, so happy to stick around and we'll continue to answer questions as they roll through. But if you are able to join us on March 18th for the next one of these workshop series, we do have we've got a new one coming up. I see some requests to talk about avatars, so we've got some time, so we may as well jump into that. Um,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about the avatar creation process. I can imagine that's a really exciting thing
So,
for people to see.
G, do you know where we can find the first two sessions of this, or if we're sending them out afterwards, perhaps?
Yeah, we'll make sure to get those out to everyone. I imagine they're in the same spot
Yeah.
where this one will end up. So we'll make
Yeah.
sure
So
that that happens.
I think for a few folks in the chat just asking about sort of like newbie beginning sort of tips on avatar creation, on just sort of getting started in the Vidyard platform. We did have two sessions prior to this one, which sort of covered those initial steps in this process. So those are available on demand. We'll make sure to get them sent out to you after this. So just great stuff to look into for sort of that getting started sort of stuff.
And
Um,
I see a question from Sean here around personalizing the avatar video with the recipient's name as the avatar is speaking. Yes, absolutely. That is so if you recall, I've got one of my campaigns open here. This is more focused around pricing outreach, but you kind of get the idea. So you can see here where it says hi first name. That first name is intended to be your customer's first name. And so we would then, as we saw inside of HubSpot, map the HubSpot property for first name over to what gets shown here. And we do that in the workflow creation process. So absolutely, Sean. But again, I'll call out, you're not limited to first name. Like if you wanted to personalize, a topic, we're seeing a lot of uptake in the financial services industry. So we get a lot of people who are booking meetings with financial advisors, loan officers, those kinds of groups. And a lot of times they're coming in with potential borrowers are coming in with information about the types of loans they're looking for and things like that. And we're finding our customers personalizing the video content with that information. So it's like, hey, I'm Jory, saw you booked a meeting about insert reason for borrowing here, things like that. Like you can go really deep with it as well. So jumping into the avatar creation process, we may as well. I love talking about this. So you can see here, I'm inside of Vidyard, and if I wanted to create an avatar, I can just select a new one here. And the process is fairly simple. I would encourage everyone who goes through the process to check out this video. It gives you a lot of the best practices in terms of like what makes a really good training video and things like that. But you can see here the process itself is um, we ask you to record a 60 to 90-second video. And then and that video can be about anything you want. So you're not necessarily required to say a specific script or anything like that. I always personally tell people to just like choose something you're really passionate about. So choose like a hobby or your weekend plans or anything like that, so that you can be really enthusiastic and upbeat and up tempo about how you record your avatar video. I'd love to see in the chat some of the things that people might talk about during their avatar training video. It's always interesting to see what people come up with. I don't, Jory, do you have like a bespoke thing that you go to when you're training?
uh, yeah, I definitely do. For me, it's golf and my dog.
Yeah.
I talk about just going for walks with him and how excited I get for that and things we do together, or trips that I've gone on with my wife. It can literally be anything. But gee, I absolutely second the motion to be enthusiastic in these videos. I think that for best results when you're creating an AI avatar, you really want to be as you really want to be almost over enthusiastic,
Totally.
if that makes sense. Because I think when you're watching your avatar back and they just seem a little dull and they seem, a little bit monotone, a great way to fix that is just by over exaggerating your expression or excitement into something. Yeah, I see a few comments already in the chat about sort of dull avatars. definitely when I created my first one, I was just trying to play it cool. I found out that's not the way. When I created mine, I really enjoy my avatar that I currently have. I purposely tried to smile throughout the entire 90-second video that you make for the avatar creation, and really tried to be over enthusiastic. And the way that he comes out is just as a more generally enthusiastic sounding guy. So
Yeah.
I'd really recommend going a little bit overboard instead of keeping it back too much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's, when you, as part of the process, you do have the option of using a sample script. Again, I generally encourage people to improvise and just pick something that you're really excited about. But then you can see here, you get the ability to load up a training video. It's kind of coming out at a weird angle here, but that's the idea. So you get this opportunity to record your video. We do ask you to record a short consent video afterwards, and then basically the avatar processes. So that takes a couple minutes and then you're off. I do see some other questions here, so we'll jump into these. Sean, I see a question here about whether or not HubSpot triggers allow you to send emails based on the title of the meeting. I believe they do, so that would be something that we would configure as part of the logic inside of HubSpot itself. So if we were to pull up the workflow editor and then we can add some criteria to the meeting booked trigger in the HubSpot workflow. I do believe it does allow you to pick the title of the meeting, but that would be a great experiment to run. We actually do. I should say this. We actually do something like that internally here at Vidyard, where our account managers, we have a workflow that routes them to 4 different Vidyard campaigns based on 4 different meeting types. So whether it's like a quarterly business review invite or a client onboarding or things like that. So depending on what meeting the has been booked with our account managers, you get a different avatar, and that's something that we've set up for the team.
Hmm.
Tiffany, I see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, Tiffany, I see a question there about an anonymous views. So it sounds like you're getting mostly anonymous views. It would be interesting to investigate that a little bit more. One thing I'll say is, as part of the process that we showed here today, when you are setting up the email template inside of HubSpot, we do append the necessary tags to the email, to the URL, so that the view is identified. So in general, everything that you send from a video agent campaign, especially out of HubSpot, and the same is true with the other platforms as well, those views we would expect to be identified. So if you're running especially a video agent campaign and you're not getting those identified views, definitely reach out to our support team, and we can make sure that you've got things set up correctly. And I see a question from
Yeah.
Oriana here. Do you think the avatar will be more natural if the training video uses language of the business you're in? That's a great question, actually. It doesn't, our experience, at least so far, is that it doesn't necessarily matter. There are some things to consider when you are writing out your script for the avatar. So things like highly specialized terminology, medical terms, legal terms, things like that. You may want to consider spelling phonetically, just because the model is trained well and it is trained over thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. But the those specialized terminology, especially when it comes to things like ambiguous company names or things like that. I know
Mm.
Vidyard has gotten better over time, but in the earliest days of this, we had some interesting challenges with Vidyard as well. But it's pretty good now. So yeah, definitely give that a shot. Great
Mhm.
questions. These are fantastic. Happy to talk about
Yeah.
anything else. I could do this all day.
Yeah, maybe just quickly while we're waiting for some more questions to come in, I can just speak from sort of like the end user
Yeah, please.
perspective on this. We showed a lot today about the setup. sort of, honestly how easy it is to sort of set up these initial campaigns and workflows. I will say as an end user, this is such a great. You touched on it earlier about having these videos that are created while you're traveling, while you're you're on a plane, or uh, for myself, something I talk with customers about. If someone books in some time to meet with me, and they're in European time, I'm based in Toronto, they've booked that time in. I don't know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning for me. And my avatar is already sending out that video, creating that agenda setting, introducing myself, and really just sort of setting the stage for the meeting, which for us has improved our no-show rate by, gee, you can correct me on this, somewhere at ballpark by 30%.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was yeah,
Reduced, sorry, by
we reduced it
30%.
by a third. Yeah.
Um, so something that, maybe not everyone considers in these sorts of workflows is really the end results of something like a meeting confirmation. But when you're introducing yourself, setting that agenda, and showing the buyer that you're showing up prepared for that meeting, regardless of whether you're asleep or not. And that video getting sent out can be a really powerful tool and something that has been, critical for me in my workflow, and something honestly I don't know how I would function without if I had to create them all, one by one individually. So
Yeah.
just yeah, speaking as a rep, honestly, such a cool use case for video and for our AI agent.
Yeah, I see. I saw a question from Caitlin here around leveraging this inside of sequences as opposed to workflows. So the custom action that we've built is only available in HubSpot workflows. That said, we do have a number of customers who leverage this as part of who leverage the video generation process as part of a sequence. So what I've got up on the screen here, hopefully it's showing, yes, is some of the different triggers that you have within HubSpot that interact with sequences. So I just started a brand new workflow inside of my HubSpot instance, and you can see some of the different triggers that you have access to from within HubSpot. So things like a contact who booked a meeting, when they get enrolled in a sequence, when they get unenrolled in a sequence, those sorts of things, you'll be able to trigger a workflow off of, and then from that point on, then you can drop in. So if I were to pick one of these, you can then um, drop in the Vidyard custom action later on. So you can see down here, I've got my custom action and I can pull that up. And you'll see the different campaigns that I've got here. So that's how the video agent workflow or video agent interfaces with sequences. So hopefully that's helpful to you, Kate. And Sean, I see here you've got a LinkedIn lead gen campaign to download an ebook. Um, and the recipient gets an email from HubSpot. Is it possible to edit a video so that you can splice in your own footage? Yeah, that's a great question. So as far as the uh, Vidyard campaigns are concerned, and the avatar creation and the avatar video specifically, you can't necessarily dynamically splice in um, video footage. However, I will say if I pull up my avatar or my campaigns here, and let's go with this one. I mentioned earlier that we have the ability to do things like showing either the avatar, or also you could do like a screen and an avatar. So if you wanted to, you could then supply a background. So whether that's a background image or a background video, you can supply that as part of the video itself. And then you can see my avatar down in the bottom corner here. And this again would be whoever's avatar gets used as part of the campaign. And so in that scenario, then you're now looking at, some more dynamic content kind of in the background, and then your avatar there as well. Great question. Great question.
Mhm.
Love when people come up with like interesting use cases for video agent. Great.
Okay.
Yeah, if there aren't any other questions, Jory, I'll leave it to you to wrap up.
Yeah, sure. Um, well,
Oh,
great. Oh,
sorry,
and
there's
we
one
had
more.
just
This is
thank
great.
you, Sean, for the questions, by the way. Yeah, go ahead, G, with this one.
Yeah, Tiffany. So we could customize the yeah, we can customize the view page. Let me jump in and we'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm here inside of a Vidyard account. The page itself, which we call the sharing page or the Vidyard sharing page, is defined here inside of Vidyard. So it's analogous. So if you're familiar with setting up the templates for a landing page inside of a marketing automation tool. So something like a HubSpot or a Marketo or Eloqua, whatever you've got. Um, if you pull that open, you can see here I've got my branded sharing page and I can do a variety of different things. I can specify favicons, my logo, some colorization within the player. You can actually go as deep as you need to. So we have some very surface level things that you can set up, but if you've got the muscle for it, you can also dive into the code editor and actually just insert your own header and footer. So we will accept CSS, header HTML, footer HTML, and JavaScript as well. So again, this is kind of part and parcel for our customers as part of the implementation process. Everyone generally goes in and sets this up to their heart's content, and then as mentioned, we do also allow you to CNAME this to your own domain as well. So once you've got it all set up the way you should, you've got the um, everything's set up on your domain so it looks and feels like your own web property. And I see a
Uh,
question from Rahul about
mm,
shooting 12 hours of webinars. Can I load this to train my avatar, or do they get created from Vidyard video history? No. So it showed the avatar creation process a moment ago. It's just a 90-second clip that you just record. So you don't necessarily we don't need 12 hours of your footage. You can certainly just use your own your own webcam or a phone camera or things like that as part of that. And I see a note here to jump back into the slides. So we are here. And as
yeah.
mentioned, yeah, we've got we want everyone to encourage everyone to kind of continue joining us on these webinars.
And is there um, a code to scan here on one slide? I don't see one there.
I don't see that. Oh, right
Um,
back here. There we go.
there it is. Okay.
That was the one they wanted me to
Um,
show.
yeah, okay. Well, just to I guess wrap things up then. Yeah, first of all, thank you everyone for all the fantastic questions. Hopefully we were able to shed, a little bit of light into this one workflow. Again, if this was a little bit more advanced and you're looking for sort of more starter type material getting into Vidyard, we do have the other two sessions which cover that plus some more materials. We'll be reaching out post webinar with those, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, G, thank you to you for today.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
nothing else for me.
it's great. We'll shut it down. Appreciate everyone coming.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for coming.